We're going to start off on a little bit of a sad note, though. I got a phone call this morning from Richie Perfecki, and the short of it is he won't be coming back. He's entering hospice right now, and things aren't going too good for him. So with that in mind, let's take a moment then for silent meditation and Pledge of Allegiance after, and remember Richie and his family in your thoughts and prayers, and along with the first responders. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item number 3, approval of the minutes from the January 26th meeting. Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Randy Young, seconded by Devin Crejan. And this we can do by acclamation. If you are in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Item number 4, public comment. Is there anyone in the back that would like to speak? Okay, come on up, Peter. And keep her to about 3 minutes if you can. Otherwise, these people get antsy.
Right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me to be here tonight. My name is Peter Schmidt. I used to be on the county board in 2018, 2020. I'm here tonight to inform you all that I'm running for Assembly 6, Representative to Assembly, this upcoming August primary. I just want to inform you that on April 15th, I will be out in the community collecting signatures for my nomination papers. So if any of you have any comments or suggestions how I can help move Shawano County forward at the Madison level, just please feel free to reach out to me. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good meeting. Thank you.
Okay, that was a quick 3 minutes. Is there anyone else wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, then we will move on. Motion to deviate. Motion by Marv Klosterman, seconded by Deb Nofke. All those in favor by acclamation, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 6, Chairman's Report. I have a few other items that I want to run through for the board, but we'll start with Jeff from the Shawano Area Waterways Management. If you would come up to the front, Jeff. He wants to give us just a little update on basically the lake level issue.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks for the time to come and speak to everyone. My name's Jeff Pusant. As you mentioned, I'm on the board of the Shawano Area Waterways Management, and specifically my role has been working with the water level challenge that we've been dealing with since 2015. So what I hope to do is just want to give you a quick overview on SAWM, give you an update on this water level challenge and what we hope the board can assist us with, and then one other piece on some weed harvesting feedback that we want to get from you. So for those of you that aren't familiar with SAWM, it's the nonprofit organization that oversees the waterway in Shawano, specifically Shawano Lake, the Channel, and then the Wolf River. Membership today is just over 600 households. And in our responsibility, we take care of a handful of things. One is we take care of the development and management of the lake management plan that has to be updated with the DNR every 5 years. That plan allows us to harvest weeds, both manually as well as through spraying weeds. We also take care of the installation, removal, and management of buoys on the waterways. Interestingly, that alone costs us between $8,000 and $12,000 each year because of the number of buoys that tend to get damaged during a typical navigation season. And then in addition to that, we support the landowners and property owners with issues and challenges that they have, like, for example, getting seawalls installed, which was an effort that we wrapped up 2 years ago, getting approval again with the DNR to be able to replace and/or install seawalls where there were dramatic property issues. Today, what I wanted to update you on is our water level challenge. Not sure how familiar you are with the issue, but it surfaced in 2015 when we had a resident on the river that filed a complaint with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. FERC is who oversees the operation of the dam here in Shawano. That dam operates under an exemption issued by FERC, and that exemption allows them to operate at a water level of between 801.8 inches, or mean sea level, so feet above sea level, to 803.1. So if you remember those numbers, 801.8 to 803.1. At the same time, that exemption defines the normal pool level of the Wolf River Pond of 802.5. I've spent 6 years in this process. I have no idea how the DNR came up with 802.5 as the normal water level height, but I'll tell you, for the last 30 years, the dam has been operating at maintaining the water level at 802.9. So that's 0.5 of a foot higher than what normal is. For those of you, obviously, that all live in Shawano, and if you've boated on the waterway, you know that 5 or 6 inches of water means a lot on the channel and the river specifically. And then even on the lake, 5 or 6 inches is the difference between getting boats off lift and not getting boats off lifts. So in 2015, a resident had a concern that the corner of their property and their seawall had been underwater a few different times. They believed that the height of that seawall was above the 802.9 level, subsequently filed a complaint. That complaint resulted in FERC coming back to the dam and letting them know that for every incident in which they operated over that level, the fine was somewhere in the neighborhood of $10,000. Subsequently, the reaction was the dam operators lowered to 802.5, and we started to run into the challenges that we've been facing since. So during that stretch of time, we've worked with FERC to get 3 exemptions. Those exemptions have allowed us to keep on operating at this higher level during the navigation season, while at the same time working with the DNR to try to get a permanent amendment to resolve this for good. The initial amendment, going back to 2017, we thought was good and was going to be passed, and then in the final hour, the DNR raised concern about floodplain mapping. I gave you a bunch of numbers. One other number is 804.5. 804.5, which is 2.5 feet almost, above the highest level that the dam can operate. 804.5 is what floodplain, is what the DNR defines as the floodplain mapping. So that's when flooding were to begin. My family, my wife's family has been in the area since the 50s. In my conversations with them, none of them have ever remembered Shawano Lake flooding, which means we've probably never exceeded or gotten near that 804.55 number. But the DNR stated that in order to ever get this approved, we would have to update the FEMA floodplain maps, which at that time was quoted at costing us about $250,000. Obviously nothing that a lake association could finance. Rolling forward, the next move was the DNR suggested, why don't we do things seasonally? Let's keep the water high during the summer, lower the water to 804.5 during the winter months. We thought, well, okay, if that'll get us through, we'll give that a shot. That raised concerns with the fishing clubs that were concerned about whether that would cause issues with spawning, and also cause concern with our lower river neighbors, New London, Shiocton, et cetera, which were concerned about us sending extra water down to them in the spring or excuse me, in the fall of the season when we would be drawing things down. Subsequently, the update as of today is we are back to we have gotten a 2-year exemption that expires the end of 2023, so November 15th actually of 23. And during this 2-year exemption, we can operate year-round at what we define as the normal level, that 802.9. During that time, we're now working with the dam operator, which is Eagle Creek, a consultant that we've collectively hired off the East Coast. And they are helping us put together the plan to gain approval to leave the water level year-round at the height that has been, in our defined history. Challenges, we get one shot at this. FERC has clearly told us they don't want to hear from us again. They are going to allow this exemption to last for 2 years. If we get approval, great. And approval for the most part is we have to get DNR, Fish and Wildlife, and then all of the government communities to agree that they don't see a concern. The reason I wanted to touch base with all of you today is still floating around out there, we know, is this floodplain mapping concern. Our consultant has come back to us. They've done a hydrologic study, and they have said they do not see any proof that this 4 or 5 inch change would modify floodplain mapping at all, and believe they have the data to support that. However, we are confident that when we come to having a public meeting, we'll actually have 2 meetings, one with the public, 2, we will have a meeting in which the county will be invited, the city, all the municipalities, with Eagle Creek, with the consultant, with DNR, with Fish and Wildlife. We expect that the DNR will again bring up and say, just want to let you know, you haven't fully addressed floodplain mapping, and or if there is ever a flooding issue, this will not be a DNR problem, it will be pushed to the municipalities, and it will be their problem. Again, all we can say is it's been as long as we can recognize that we've never seen flooding issues, and we don't think that will be a problem. And on top of that, during this time, Eagle Creek converted the dam from a manually operated dam, and I'll define that. Literally, alarms went off, woke someone up, they went down to the dam and pulled boards out. So if the water level was going out, someone manually had to remove boards. Now it is an automated operation. Water level is measured every 15 minutes, and the gates on the dam are adjusted accordingly. So if you look at history, the level of the dam, you would see the water level look more like a heart monitor. If you were to look at the history of the dam for the last 3 or 4 years, the patient is dead. I mean, it is very, very nominal changes. So Eagle Creek's done a great job. Unfortunately, our challenge is after we get done paying for this consultant, the bill will be between $35,000 and $40,000. That's what the Lake Association is paying. We will have spent about $100,000 fighting this single complaint just simply to get the water level maintained at the level that it had always been. So it's gotten to be a pretty expensive venture. So today, like I said, my objective is wanted to share some of the detail with you, bring you up to speed on what the process is, let you know meetings will be scheduled, I would say as early as May or June, and it would be great if as many of you as possible could attend, just so that you're aware of what's transpiring and the status of things. And we hope, with our fingers crossed, that we'll be submitting our final request by the end of this year, giving us plenty of time to react to the decision from FERC. But at this point, knock on wood, we feel very good that that we'll be able to get things back to the normalized level. Any questions at all that I can answer for this group as it relates to dam operations, the water level, or any of those topics? Yes, sir.
Deb, no, they're all ringing in on this, Joel. Deb Nofke.
Ages ago, 3 gentlemen from your group were extremely helpful when we were facing a draconian, overreaching shoreline zoning proposal that far exceeded the state requirements. And I found you to be a very knowledgeable think tank type group. I mean, very very capable of coming up with numbers, facts, and figures. The lake level is important not only for our residents, but it's also important for tourism, and we are a tourist area. I'm wondering, would it be helpful if this board, because even a lone board member can sponsor a resolution and bring it forward, would it be helpful if this board would perhaps pass a resolution in support of your efforts?
Yeah, great question. The answer to that is yes. And that was, in essence, the intent of today is, at minimum, after these educational sessions with our consultant, with Eagle Creek, that shares and says, here's what we're doing, here's how we're going to move forward, we will look to the Shawano County Board to say, can we have some form of documentation that states, yes, we're in support of the plan, and that would be submitted along with the documentation to FERC, and it would all be part of the submission. So absolutely, we need that from the county, we need that confirmation from the city, from Washington, from Cecil, from Westcott, everyone confirming that, no, this is what we need, because your point's right on, and we talk about it, trying to ensure that people understand, I'm biased, but I believe the most valuable economic impact or resource that Shawano County has is the waterways. I mean, by far, I don't think anything brings more money into this county than the waterways. And so if all of a sudden we're getting bad press and/or there's boat damage, accidents, I mean, that certainly is going to have an impact on people coming to spend the summers on our waters.
It's the boat damage.
Yep.
They don't want to pull their, the fib wob, you don't want to pull their boat up here and end up taking it home trashed.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
John Ainsworth.
Thank you. Two questions unrelated to each other. First of all, is there a certain amount of water that is required to be allowed over the dam in order to maintain the flow below the dam?
Yeah, good question. The dam permit, this dam is called a flow of river operation, which means that the flows that are coming in have to meet the outflows. So by definition, the dam can't hold any water back. So whatever's coming to them has to be let go. So the way that I describe it is, once you get to that target level, so 802.9, so your glass is 2/3 full, and you keep pouring an inch an hour into that glass, once it gets to the top, an inch an hour is going to flow out the other end. So there isn't a targeted flow per se, other than the fact that they can't intentionally hold water back. And where that came up is the downstream municipalities had contacted us and said, one resident filed a complaint and said their hunting land floods every fall, and it's because our dam lets water out. And we said, well, that doesn't happen. They said, nope, we are assured. And so the dam provided all the data and confirmed, no, they do not release water, because their argument was, we want you to stay at the lower water level because we want you to hold water back in fall, let less water down. And the DNR confirmed, no, A, they can't hold water back, and B, they don't ever send a rush of water down to intentionally flood out your hunting land, except for springs and falls are always historically wetter, so there's more water coming to you just because of those flows. So I think the formal term is it's like I said, flow of river. Whatever's coming has to pass and go south.
The other question related to financing, have you seriously considered a lake district with taxing powers and get all of the residents to help?
Yeah, great question. So unfortunately, if the lake was in one municipal district, so if it was all within the city of Shawano, it would be relatively easy because you just need to get the city to approve. For us to create a lake district, which this has been researched multiple times, you would need to get a majority vote from the city, from Cecil, from Westcott, so every community would need to vote in support. And unfortunately, we've investigated that, and obviously, telling someone that, hey, we want to do that so that we can change your dues. Dues are $50 a year. Now, $50 a year, but I think our donations from members was something on the line of $25,000 to $30,000. So most members don't pay $50. Most write a check for a couple $100 because they see the value, and some much more than that. And then the only other option is to become a lake district through a sanitary district. And I believe that the only sanitary option was I can't remember where this, I believe it must have been Shawano Lake. And we started to go down that path. We took them down to Green Lake because Green Lake has a sanitary district that oversees their lake. And they came back excited. And then I think sat down and talked about it for a while and decided I get paid $2,000 a year to be on the sanitary district. Why on earth do I want to have 1,200 residents on the lake start yelling at me for different issues? And so they scrapped that idea. So, and today people say just charge more than $50. There's actually state regulation that prevents the maximum we can charge as a lake association without being formal is $50 a year. So the great thing is, as there's turnover in property, those that have been here forever are the hardest ones to get to become a member with the association. As soon as there's a turnover, the new families are like, absolutely, we want to be involved, and $50 is goofy. Here's a lot more than that. So our support continues to increase every year. So good question.
Okay, Joel Miller.
Long story short, when does a dam licensing procedure come available? We dealt with this in Gresham, me and Rick. Dealt with it up in Gresham with those two dams. So when is that dam, or has that dam been recently relicensed?
I couldn't answer that question because,
don't.
all I know is they operate under an exemption. I don't know about the formal
And a
license.
comment, what are you guys doing? There's a drought. So, Mother Nature's going to tell you how much water is coming in and going out, not you, respectfully.
Okay, Randy Young.
So then, other than the flooding, flooding being the major issue for FERC, is that correct?
Yes.
Do they have other issues that they've identified that might not be as important, but have still identified them?
Any other concern was related to lowering the level, and that was all fish and wildlife related. So with any type of drawdown, that's when fish and wildlife is concerned, because we're spending a lot of time and energy planting walleye. The walleyes for tomorrow has been so active on the lake, and they're worried about all the frogs, salamanders, everything else that burrow into the shore, and then we lower the water, and then they freeze out. So if we leave it alone, fish and wildlife we're good, perfect. Leave it as is, let Mother Nature do its thing. If we start changing the level, that's when they had additional concerns. But DNR's concern is everything was done at 802.4 in their mind, and so or 802.5, if you go to 802.9, do we need to draw floodplain mapping because we're starting with 4 or 5 inches of more water conceptually? All right.
Okay. Okay, well, I believe that's it, Jeff. I see no other requests for questions, so thank
Awesome.
you very much for your time.
Thank you. Just one last comment. The other thing that's surfacing is the weed harvesting topic. So I just want to bring this group up to speed on that as well. Obviously, it's a big issue. The DNR wants us to continue to manually harvest with harvesters because you're pulling all of that waste out of the lake. We just did a review of our equipment, which we've had some challenges with. And to replace a harvester is $250,000. And again, after just spending $100,000 trying to chase a water level, $250,000 for a harvester is a little challenging. So I'm bringing that up because I know there will be a future conversation where we're looking to the city or county or someone to say, we need some help to be able to continue to harvest these weeds on an annual basis. So thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. The other items that I have for the chairman's report is I was just going to make a comment. Jerry, Arlen, and I were down to the legislative exchange, and the one highlight I'd like to bring up is the first time I went, they always have one of the things that they put on, I don't know what you really call it, an event or whatever, is they have the 4 kind of the top people from the assembly, and the Senate up on the stage, and they have a moderator, and they talk about various items that are up for discussion right now at the state level. And I was really impressed to see this time that they could actually sit there, all four of them, and get along in a sane fashion. I don't know how else to say it. The time before, it was just ridiculous. They were so rude to each other. As soon as a question was asked, I mean, the other ones they'd be like that. They'd be shaking their head, no one looking around. And so maybe there is a little bit of sense going to come more from Madison, where maybe they can start to get along on a few things from one party to the other. Is there anything you'd like to comment on, Arlen?
Yes, I think one thing I come away that I didn't like is that money coming in from the infrastructure structure coming in from the federal into the states to rebuild your highways and stuff like that, that most of it is going to be, the way it sounds, down in Milwaukee or Madison, and very little, something like maybe 20% or something will cover the rest of the state. And they also figure on putting in high-speed rail from Chicago to Milwaukee to Madison. And I just can't quite see that, but they're pretty well set on it.
Yep. And that we don't have much control over, we don't, but is what it is. The other item I have is I had Jimmy put it on everybody's desk. The updated for the ARPA money. At Executive Committee, we approved 2 projects this last time around, and another one was for the parks. And I said, when we made the motion even, that this will probably be one of the last ones the parks will get, because they've been benefited quite well already from it. But the other one was a big one. We approved the highway shop expansion at the main one here in town. The west is in good shape, and the east will need some work eventually too. But this $675,000, and it's for a new mechanics bay for working on the trucks and the equipment. And it does involve what maybe could be a little bit of a safety issue, to where they'll have a pit in this one, so when you're underneath the truck, you'll be standing in a lower work area, and you won't be just rolling around underneath the creeper with anything jacked up, and that was one of the reasons we went along with it. And they are simply running out of space. And what I would like to, I only got one suggestion so far. I'd like to have more suggestions if somebody can dream them up of what we should kind of do to allocate that money, so we don't just spend it on nickel and dime things and not end up with something. At least this way now, our main shop should be done for some time again. And we're not going to be looking for 2 years from now for a couple $100,000 here. And that's, in my opinion, what I'd like to see kind of happen with the money. The other comment I have is I'm trying to shorten up maybe a little bit of the discussion. When we get to the sheriff, the clerk of courts, and the coroner, the numbers that we put forward were a 4% raise at first, and then a 3% per year after that. Now that sounds like some pretty aggressive increases, but where that came from is I got a spreadsheet of all the counties in the state, and then I took the 4 counties that I could find that were the closest to Shawano based on population, and I thought that would be a good place to start. And we would have to give that 4% to get them jobs up to what them other counties are paying. That's where we came with the big 4% raise in the first year. And then after that, we ended up with, we were hoping to leave it go to where we could just give them 3 positions the same raise as what the other employees get, but you can't do that because it has to be established at the start of their term, and you can't change it up or down, so we had to either sign a dollar amount or a definite percentage, and we ended up with the 3%. And now some of you are gonna think I'm a little crazy maybe, but this was Tessa's idea to go with the 3%, and it was unanimous by the rest of us. We went along with it. And we think that's something that we should try and find for all the employees, is if we can give them a 3% raise once. And Jimmy had some discussions with the executive committee about possibly some bonus pay this year, because to tell you guys all the truth, we lost ground again this year. Our raises were only, I believe, 1.5% is all we gave. And everybody else surrounding us was 2 or 2.5%. So we lost ground again this year. So then will be one of the items you might see coming in the future is possibly a one-time bonus. First, we got to find the money, but I think the money is there because we did have 825,000, I believe, went back into the general fund for budget year 2022 or 2020. Yeah, when they got done with the audit. And I think we should spend a little more money back on our employees, because this year, with changes that they made themselves, choices they made, they lowered the cost of health insurance to the county by about $53,000. Somewhere in that range is what that savings was. And I would like to, this might be pie in the sky, but I think it's fair to give some of that back to the employees as an incentive, because they're the ones that do the jobs every day. And if they can find more savings, that will help us in the long run with funding. And in turn, they should be rewarded. So that was the thought that started that for the sheriff, and then the 3%, but we'll see. We're limited, as you guys all know, with how much money we can bring in and what we have to work with. I also was gonna make a quick note too. If anybody's wondering, Aaron Damero has resigned. He is no longer living in his current district that he was elected to, that he moved. And I didn't think it pays to try and fill the seat this short, because the election's coming here right shortly. And just for a side note too, if any of you guys are on local EMS and fire departments and that, if you didn't hear it already, the governor is proposing to give some more of that ARPA money out for funding for local services like that. So if you guys are on one of them or you have any contact with them, let them know, because I'm sure everybody else will be lining up as fast as they can to try and sign up for it. So with that, I believe that's all the propaganda, as Joe would say, I have for you today. We will move on then to item number 7, reading of petitions, memorials, communications. Kara?
We have none.
None? Okay. Item number 8, resolution number 4-22. Kara?
To approve the Shawano County Supervisory Redistricting Plan. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that the county board accepts and adopts the attached recommendations of the Shawano County Redistricting Committee as the county final supervisory redistricting plan. Be it further resolved that upon the adoption of this resolution, a copy of the final plan will be submitted to the Office of the Secretary of State for consideration of approval. Was submitted by the Redistricting Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Milt Marquardt, seconded by Teresa Serrano. Is there any questions or comments or discussion on the new map, new districts? Deb Nafke.
Do
You
we
might
have-
as well come on up, Dave.
Did we have any of the towns, because my understanding was the towns had to bless this as well. Did we have any of the towns that had objections?
I'll let Dave answer them because he pretty much handled most of the process.
That part isn't included here, so.
Yes, all the towns had to create, well, I shouldn't say all the towns. Any town that was over 1,000 people or towns that were split due to supervisory district creation had to create ward plans. All of the towns that created ward plans have approved their ward plans that go along with this supervisory district.
Okay. Steve Geets.
Just a clarification, on this map, it says 2022 to 2032. Is that going to be kind of confusing for the people this spring on the elections because we aren't changing the districts till 2024?
No, that's the same labeling that's been used in the past. It was 2002 to 2012, 12 to 22, because that's when typically it would go into effect. So you are correct, but any elections that, if there were elections this fall, they would still be based on the new districts for fall elections. These spring elections, because of the timing with COVID and all the delays, are still based on the prior map.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay, well, seeing none then, I guess if you are in favor of approving the new map, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Hold on a minute. Okay, there we go. $17 yes, 4 no, so the resolution has passed. Two did not vote. Okay, then we're going to be the open seats, unfortunately. Okay. So the resolution is passed. Item number 9, ordinance number 3-22.
Adopting the Town of Burnhamwood Comprehensive Plan Amendments. Now therefore be it ordained by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that it approves the revised Town of Burnhamwood Comprehensive Plan and incorporates said changes into the county comprehensive plan. To review the proposed amendments, you can see that out on the Shawano County website. The amendments can also be reviewed at the County Planning, Development, and Zoning Office. This was submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Dennis Knack, seconded by Kevin Conrad. Is there any questions or comments? Okay. Seeing none, then when Kara's ready, if you are in favor of it, you'd vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 21 yes, 0 no, so the ordinance has passed. Item number 10, resolution number 5-22. Kara?
Approve amendments to the Town of Burnhamwood official zoning map. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that it approves the official zoning map amendments for the Town of Burnhamwood as follows. Change one parcel from recreational and public open space zoning district to open lands, agricultural and residential zoning district. Change 2 parcels from commercial community zoning district to open lands, agricultural and residential zoning district. And change 2 parcels from open lands, agricultural and residential zoning district to commercial community zoning district. A total of 5 parcels are included in this request, which will be compliant with the town's comprehensive plan, submitted by Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Dennis Knack, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Is there any questions or comments on this? Okay, seeing none then, if you are in favor of resolution number 5-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. $21 yes, 0 no, so the resolution is passed. Item number 11, ordinance number 4-22. Kara?
Adopting the Town of Washington Comprehensive Plan Amendments. Now therefore be it ordained by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that it approves the revised Town of Washington Comprehensive Plan and incorporates said changes into the County Comprehensive Plan. To review the proposed amendments, you can see them at the on the Shawano County website, or the amendments can also be viewed at the County Planning, Development, and Zoning Office. This was submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Ken Capelli, seconded by Deb Nofke. Is there any questions or comments on this one? Okay, if you are then in favor of ordinance number 4-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. "21 yes, 0 no." So the ordinance has passed. Item number 12, resolution number 6-22. Kara?
Approve amendments to the Town of Washington official zoning map. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that it approves the official zoning map amendments for the Town of Washington as follows. Change 120 parcels from residential sewer zoning district to agricultural residential zoning district. Change 66 parcels from residential sewer zoning district to residential mixed zoning district. Change 2 parcels from residential sewer zoning district to recreational and public open space zoning district. Change 3 parcels from residential mixed zoning district to residential sewer zoning district. Change 58 parcels from farmland and forest preservation zoning district to agricultural residential zoning district. Change 39 parcels from farmland and forest preservation zoning district to open lands agricultural and residential zoning district. Change 2 parcels from farmland and forest preservation zoning district to agricultural residential zoning district. Change 1 parcel from farmland and forest holding zoning district to open lands agricultural and residential zoning district. Change 1 parcel from agricultural residential zoning district to farmland and forest preservation zoning district. Oop, did I mess that up? Okay. And then change 2 parcels from agricultural residential zoning district to open lands agricultural and residential zoning district. Change 3 parcels from Hamlet zoning district to open lands agricultural and residential zoning district. A total of 297 parcels are included with this request, which will all be compliant with the town's comprehensive plan.
Motion to approve. Motion by Ken Capelli, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Is there any questions or comments on this? Okay, seeing none then, if you are in favor of resolution number 6-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Marv? 21 yes, 0 no, so the resolution has passed. Item number 13, resolution number 7-22. Kara?
To approve a revised organizational chart for the Planning and Development Department. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that it approves the attached revised organizational chart, updated job descriptions, and job reclassifications with the changes therein for the Planning and Development Department, and as further set forth above in this resolution. This was submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee, along with the Executive Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Steve Geetz, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Any questions or comments on this? Boy, this is quiet today. Seeing none, then if you are in favor of resolution number 7-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. "21 yes, 0 no, so the resolution is passed. Item number 14, resolution number 8-22.
Setting the salary for the clerk of court. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that the total annual compensation for this county elected officer under Wisconsin State Statute 59.22 be established according to the below schedule for each year of the term, and that health insurance to be offered to the elected officer under the same terms and conditions as offered to management staff, as may be modified by the county from time to time. For the position of the clerk of court, the 2023 salary will be $65,155.58. 2024, $67,110.25. 2025, $69,123.55. And 2026 will be $71,197.26.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Kevin Conrad, seconded by Teresa Serrano. Is there any questions or comments on this? John Ainsworth.
Thank you. My only question is, and it applies to all three, has there been any lack of interest in these jobs? Do we not have people wanting these jobs? Such as there's lack of interest in jobs in other departments?
It doesn't appear to be, John. I think somebody's going to be running for each one of the positions.
That's my point.
Yeah. Joe Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That's salary. That does not include fringe, correct?
That's,
Correct.
yeah, that should be just the salary portion.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none then, if you are in favor of resolution number 8-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. $19 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstention. So the resolution has passed. Item number 15, resolution number 9-22. Kara?
Approving full-time position and setting the salary for the coroner and deputy coroner for the term of 2023 to 2026. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that the full-time position is approved for the coroner along with setting the salary set at $60,465.60 with a 3% pay increase for each year thereafter of the 4-year term. Be it further resolved, the total annual compensation for this county elected officer under Wisconsin State Statute 59.22 be established according to the below schedule for each year of the term, and that the health insurance to be offered to the elected officer under the same terms and conditions as offered to management staff, as may be modified by the county from time to time. For the position of coroner, 2023 would be $60,465.60. 2024, $62,279.57. 2025, $64,147.96, and 2026 will be $66,072.39. Be it further resolved that the chief deputy coroner shall receive $100 a month, $70 per call, plus an additional $20 an hour for any call over 3 hours, and the deputy shall receive $50 a month, $70 per call, plus an additional $20 per hour for any call over 3 hours. Be it further resolved that the funds to cover the cost of this position be included as part of the annual budgets for the coroner department for the years 2024, 2025, and 2026. This has been submitted by the Public Safety Committee and the Executive Committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Teresa Serrano, seconded by Rick Giese. Questions or comments on this one? Marv Klosterman.
I'm just curious to know how many deputy coroners there are.
There's 3.
3 of them. Okay.
Very difficult to find deputy coroners. We previously paid only $50 per call. And why this came up as an issue, Marv, is we had one deputy coroner that we had to take a individual for an autopsy. And if you don't know, autopsies are very full in the state. We had to go over to Minnesota, St. Paul, Minnesota. The individual was gone for 10 hours and received $50 from the county. And this is why this came up.
Isn't that overpaid? Deb Nafke.
Okay, this one, I noticed it does say that it includes wage, FICA, workers' comp, and retirement, and that 2023 will now be offering health insurance. Is that for all the positions?
No, it'd be only for the actual
Just-
coroner.
Okay, because I was going to say, how is that going to work at 100? Yeah. How's that
Just,
going to work?
just for the
on
actual
call?
coroner, Deb.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, it's just kind of strange that this isn't a job that I would really want, but yet it pays less than, well, never mind.
And there's a lot more to it than what a lot of people think. When it comes to organ donation and everything else, our current coroner, there's a lot of work you have to go through. And even had one individual that, unfortunately, it is, nobody would claim the body.
But it pays less than some of the other,
Yep.
well,
Okay, Joe.
I canceled, thank you.
Okay. Well, then if there's no other questions or comments, then if you are in favor of resolution number 9-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 19 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstention. You afraid he's gonna come pick you up or what, Joe? Okay, item number 16, resolution number 10-22.
Setting the salary for the sheriff. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022 that the total annual compensation for this county elected officer under Wisconsin State Statute 59.22 be established according to the below schedule for each year of the term, and that health insurance to be offered to the elected officer under the same terms and conditions as offered to the management staff, as may be modified by the county from time to time. For the position of sheriff, 2023, $87,825.92. 2024, $90,460.70. 2025, $93,174.52. 2026, $95,969.75. Be it further resolved that funds to cover the cost of this position be included as part of the annual budgets for the Shawano County Sheriff's Departments for the years of 2023, 2024, 2025, and 2026. This has been submitted by the Public Safety Committee and the Executive Committee.
Motion to approve by Randy Young, seconded by Mike Wisner. Is there any questions or comments on this one? Joe?
Yeah, thank you. I guess I'd just like to be the first to publicly congratulate George on being the next sheriff.
Well, my question always was is if Dana's going to be his chief deputy, but you don't answer that. Any other questions or comments? Deb?
well, considering Joe went there, I'll go there. Is this more than a chief deputy makes?
He's taking a pay cut.
It is actually a pay cut?
He's being a true civil servant if he takes the job.
Okay, like one of those title or a raise you pick? Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none then, if you are in favor of resolution number 10-22, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 19 yes, 1 no, and 1 abstention. Resolution number 11-22, and I'm just going to make one comment that, well, I'll make it here in a minute. Okay, ready? Kara?
Now therefore, be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 23rd day of February 2022, that the proposed here and above set forth the county by its chairperson of the county board and clerk pursuant to section 67.12 subsection 12 Wisconsin statutes, executive documents to Bauer from Premier Community Bank, the sum of $2,518,641.30, and to evidence such indebtedness, said chairman of the county board and the county clerk shall make executive and deliver to the lender for and on behalf of the county the attached promissory note of the county to be dated 3/21/2022 in said principal amount with the interest at the rate of 1.85% annum and payable as follows in the attached amortization schedule indicating the principal and interest amounts. A debt service account for said promissory note shall be created and used solely for the purpose of paying principal and interest on the note. Proceeds of not shall be used solely for the purposes in which it was issued, but may be temporarily invested until needed in legal investments, provided that such investments not cause note to be an arbitrage bond. County shall comply with IRS code to the extent necessary to maintain tax exempt status as the note is designated as qualified tax exempt obligation. County clerk shall keep records for the registration and for the transfer of the note. This has been submitted by the executive committee.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Kevin Conrad, seconded by John Ainsworth. The comment that I was going to make is the agenda was set and then we amended it because we had to have a little more time to get the numbers just right for this. We wanted to hurry up and get it in as fast as we could because, as a lot of you may know, interest rates are slowly starting to go up now. And we wanted to get this done to stay at a lower interest rate before Premier says, no, you got to pay the piper now. Deb Nofke.
Okay, if we're refinancing this, we're basically redoing an entire term, and there's an appreciable interest savings. But I'm wondering, since there would be a considerable interest savings, why wouldn't we put some of that ARPA money that we haven't spent yet towards just reducing this debt and refinancing a smaller amount? I mean, look at the interest, the annual interest.
We could, but we can't do it.
That's a whole somebody's salary. We make less.
We could, but we can't do that till after April 1st.
We have money sitting in those investment accounts.
Yeah, but not in the ARPA. You said ARPA money. We
Well,
can't
we
use
could
ARPA
use-
until April 1st for anything we want.
You
And
could
Carrie has to file a form to Deb before we can
You could
free
put-
that ARPA money up.
You could put the ARPA money back to replenish one of the investment CDs if you chose. I mean, why wouldn't we reduce the amount? When you look at the interest that's on there, it's a chunk of change for
Mm-hmm. Is that it?
more than most people's houses.
Gene Hoppy.
I think Deb covered just what I was going to ask. So thank you very much, Deb, because that's the same problem I had in my mind.
Okay.
So I would say, looking at the county overall and kind of a long-term plan, I think this is following a long-term plan that we would have. I guess if you look at our overall, maintenance of our facilities and items that we need to address possibly with the ARPA funds, this gives us the ability to use the ARPA funds for other options. So if we pay off this debt now, we lose the free ability to use those ARPA funds on items that we need to. So, I think this is a good move. It's just taking the current loan that we have, it's completing the term of that loan and really just reducing the interest rate on it. So, it's a big savings interest-wise over the next 7 years, and it gives us the ability to use the ARPA funds on other items that we need to address in our current plan.
I was just going to make a comment, kind of go on to that. If we spend out of the ARPA money for the squad cars and establish a replacement fund for that, that's basically would kill the rest of the first half of the ARPA money. So we can go through it real fast. It's just a matter of trying to do things with it that are going to not bring us big costs in the future, offset them now. And we thought this was the quickest route, was to refinance this to get the interest rate savings that was there. So if we don't do this, we keep paying interest to the other one then. So I guess seeing no other questions or comments, then if you are in favor of refinancing the loan, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. Eighteen yes, 2 no, with 1 abstention. All right, so the resolution has passed. Item number 18, report by the Executive Committee on General Accounts and Claims.
The total amount for general accounts is $516,724.86.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Devin Crejon, seconded by Terry Tipton. Is there any questions or comments on general accounts? Okay, seeing none, then if you are in favor of paying the bills, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. 21 yes, 0 no, so the resolution is passed. Well, not the resolution, the bills will be paid. Item number 19, acceptance of the committee minutes. Motion to approve by Kimberly Leffel, seconded by Randy Young. Is there any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, then by acclamation, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item number 20, special order or appointments. We have the emergency fire wardens, which has been sent to us from the DNR for 2022, which would be Joan Kostlany, Plains Sense County Mart for the town of Grant, Terry Easker, Easker's Town and Country for the town of Wittenberg. And that would be the two for the fire department, and I believe we should do the next one separate. Do you believe, Pam? Yes. Yeah, okay. So is there a motion to approve them two individuals as fire wardens? A motion by Devin Crejon, seconded by Milt Markwart. Any questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, we can do this by acclamation. And if you are in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. The other one that came up is the city is trying to start another TIF district right here in town where they tore the buildings down. And along with that then, either I have to sit on the board or a designee. And Arlen has always been the designee for all the TIF districts already that there are within the city. So I would put forward Arlen as the person to continue. And with that in mind, is there a motion to approve Arlen? By a motion by Gene Hoppy, seconded by Steve Geets. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, then if you are in favor of Arlene being the representative for that, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I have to look, Arlen, I think you got a meeting in 50 minutes. Okay. Number 22, claim report for County Board of Supervisors, mileage per diem. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. How about 21, board member comments for new business? Joe Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's my understanding that what we were presented here today is just the first round, correct? First round of the funding?
Yes.
Okay. I hope that broadband is given more consideration in the second round than none in the first. That's something that will benefit all the residents, or the majority of the residents. It's important. It's almost like electricity nowadays. You know, it's needed out there in this day and age. And I know it's expensive and it's a lot of money, but however, my community benefited 110-fold. And we'd like to be able to see all the communities out there, rural communities that can benefit from this broadband expansion. So I hope there's some consideration given. I know it's a lot of money, and there's a lot of people in this county. However, try like heck to figure out how that some of that money there can be used. When that list came out the last meeting and we were asked to comment on it, I took it from the bottom of the list and I put it to the top, because I see the benefits that this has for the vast majority of the residents of the county. I don't want to sound disrespectful or anything, but there's an awful lot going into the city. A library, a roof on a Crawford, this and that, you know, that's all well and fine, but it only benefits a few. I'm talking about spending that money that benefits the vast majority. Thank you very much.
Okay. Did anybody ever investigate, Jimmy, like more for broadband for the county?
Not anymore on the broadband, after, what we had gone through that round with Bertram.
Yep.
We didn't do any more investigations. We looked into some additional towers. One in the kind of the northwest part of the county, the other in the east. And what we discovered, we had some individuals come in the northwest. Even if we put up another tower, just the way the topography is, we wouldn't benefit out there like we thought we would. So we would focus on an additional tower maybe in the east, and one tower's approximately $500,000. We did talk about fiber, Joe, and that list that you got previously, those were just some ideas. None of that has been approved by the committee or whatsoever. But we did talk about fiber. We did mention broadband. We should get the second round of the funding approximately mid-May to mid-June. I anticipate the second round of the funding will come in. And then, we'll look at some other things from there, or the committee will.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but
No, that's good, Joe.
But, the information in this day and age to the most people we can possibly get it to. Thank you.
Okay. I was going to make a quick comment in between there, too. We had talked about, like Jimmy said, a tower, possibly one on the east and one on the west, and that would help EMS a lot. But we were informed that the one over the possible site that they were looking at would be the best site over for the north or the west end. Really wouldn't gain us a whole lot, because where it would be located, it was in a ways from the corner of the county. If you can picture this, like say, as that being the western end of the county here. And since everything goes out around from the tower, the best place where they thought to locate it at the time would really only give a sweep of another 2-mile radius. It wouldn't cover much territory, and it still wouldn't have much effect to where, like around the Mattoon area, where they have a lot of trouble because of the topography. And the suggestion I made at Public Safety was, when we discussed that, is if we can help it that way, then maybe we should look at, if we do something on the east end to help the EMS and fire and that for communications, possibly something on the west, if we would give them some funding for radio replacement, for improved radio equipment that could reach farther. And that was another possible option that came up. But no, nothing is set in stone. these are all just suggestions that were laid out there. Deb Nofke.
Kind of piggybacking on Joe, but that the infrastructure bill, there's supposed to be money out from federal funding, and maybe we're the wrong people that aren't supposed to be looking for the broadband money. Maybe that's only the communications providers. I don't know. Maybe we should look into that and try to figure out how we can facilitate getting some of that money here.
To expand the broadband that we have.
Right, because that was a portion, or it was supposed to be a portion of the infrastructure bill. Maybe it's only for Milwaukee, I don't know. Anyway, the other thing was, as you mentioned, that nobody had given you any suggestions. I did mention, when we were talking about the updated sheet, I did mention that we should probably look at some kind of a replacement squad car. You know, it's
Using
a
that
problem that's not going to go away. We're going to have to probably implement something. Highway has figured out how to do it. Maybe we can pattern after their depreciation schedule.
That's in the works too.
Are you thinking for round 2 instead of round 1 here?
Well, we can't get any cars right now anyway.
Yeah, because it's
We got-
not on the list.
No, we got about, what do we have, George? A dozen or 13 ordered? Okay. And we may not be able to buy any for in another year or so, but no, that is definitely on the list, and that's why I'm saying, before Deb, I would like to keep working towards we get a list for that money of where it's gonna go, so it gets appropriated for it, so we don't nickel and dime and lose out on items like that. And then if that actually does get put in place, and, when it comes budget time, we be a little more responsible with the budgeting, and the sheriff's department also, that the board has got to be told, we need this money for them replacement funds. Then you don't get these big hits. You kind of level out the playing field a little bit.
Well, this is an unusual opportunity to actually implement a depreciation schedule and a replacement fund.
Yep, it's in progress.
Yeah, Deb, we're actually going to talk about this at the next executive meeting. There has been a plan put together as a regard, the Sheriff's Department, Dana did some great work with Carrie on a depreciation schedule. To be very candid, it's expensive to get into that, and that's one of the considerations that the committee's going to have to address. But then, we also are looking at, we understand the Sheriff's Department, we understand the squad cars, but we still, with the rest of the county, we are taking a look at, would it be beneficial to get everybody into that schedule, right? Other than DHS generally gets their vehicles through grant funding, et cetera. The rest of the county does not. So we have been taking a look at to determine if it's beneficial for one pool of all the vehicles, just not the sheriff's departments, to be into that depreciation plan.
With all due respect, I think that'd be a mistake, because different ducks are different ducks. You can't put a parks truck in the same category as the squads, because there's a difference in the cost of the vehicles once they're equipped and outfitted.
No, but Jimmy's saying, Deb, to roll this all together so it's all one, there's a replacement fund then. And then every year that budget money gets appropriated for that, and that covers all the vehicles. Now, as far as rolling together, no, I still question that too a little bit if we can. And if it would work out, because like you say, different needs are for different departments, but there's still a formula, and I believe the one that Carrie found so far, and Dana, that was looking the best, was a model that Door County uses, that they have.
It's just they're different and probably should be two different
We don't disagree
pools.
with you on that, Deb. What we're saying is every piece of equipment that the county has, there should be a plan for how do we replace it. It doesn't matter if it's a lawnmower, it doesn't matter if it's a squad car, it doesn't matter if it's a truck. There should be a plan, because what has been happening is we go to failure and then we want to replace it. And we haven't identified the funds. So we have put together this plan. We're going to talk with the executive committee next month, because that's why we think it's more encompassing. right? We have to have a plan to do all of these things, because when we come to budget, those are the kind of things and those are the kind of discussions that you as elected leaders, in our opinion, need to have. You know, this has been planned for, the money's in the budget, we can move forward. But right now, most in cases, it's not planned for. And then the department comes to the committees with, I need this truck, I need this lawnmower, whatever. And so it's just like you do at your house. You try to plan for replacing your equipment.
Actually, we do have things like lawnmowers are budgeted for, and so we could look through with a fine-tooth comb and reduce the budget amounts if we transition to a replacement schedule. It's not just growing the budget, because anything that's budgeted currently for equipment doesn't need to be if it's being dealt with on a replacement schedule.
I don't disagree with you, but it's got to be all planned out, right? That's all we're saying, Deb. It needs to be a plan.
We need to do, if we're gonna set up more of these funds, Deb, we need to do a lot of work.
Yeah.
Because now, when the sheriff's department sells some of their old equipment, it comes through the sheriff's department, and then it comes through the executive committee. The equipment gets sold and disposed of. Where does the money go?
That was asked in public property, yes.
Yeah. It should go, I would say, into
go
the
into
equipment replacement fund that they have at the sheriff's department. Or it should go into TS's fund, you know, one of them. There's gotta be a better layout of the whole big picture. And another thing that came up at KIP when we had our last KIP meeting, the discussion was, we should have, and we don't know if this is there in the maintenance department, and we're gonna discuss that at public property the next time around, that a list of this building. This building has a boiler, a roof, the structure itself, the flooring, and them things all have life cycles. And there should be a schedule laid out to where Jimmy showed us what the school did, to where that schedule lays out every building, what's going to be needed in the next year on a spreadsheet. So you have a budget figure that next year you're going to need, if you're following that maintenance schedule for all of them, it pulls out, this one's due, this one's at the end of its life, that one's at the end of its life. Next year, here's how much we're going to need for maintenance. And that should be in the maintenance department then, because that's maintenance. Not coming back to the board, well, we've been putting everything in the general fund and now we got to take some back out because we need a big chunk here or a big chunk for that. And that's going to come up at, like I said, because KIP has kind of been turning into, we can't get enough money in our budget. We can't get it from the maintenance department. We can't get it here. Well, we'll try KIP. And you get all these little projects now, 30,000, 40,000, 20,000. And KIP, I believe when it was originally started, it had to be 200,000 or more to be part of the KIP program. Well, it's been all watered down. And maybe that needs to go back to that. And more of these items budgeted for and planned for. So we don't get the one-time hit. But it's not that easy to do in just 2 minutes. But they're working on it. They're gaining ground. Arlen Tober.
What I have to say is just a small item. And that I heard that these trees out here were going to be cut. Is that true? Are they dying or?
Yes, we did have the city forester came over. The trees are dying. They're rotting on the inside. And so we had the city forester come over. They confirmed all of that with us. We went to public property. We got approval to do that through public property. And we anticipate probably here, and I would say within a month, that they will come down. And we will relook then to make adjustments to the front of the courthouse, replanting, et cetera.
It's not going to be solid concrete though, Arlen.
Yeah, because it's,
No way.
that's beautiful when you drive across the front there, and I thought we'd end up with something like we got on the south end of the courthouse. I don't like that. I never did like that you did
Yeah,
that, and
our
I don't-
intent, Arlen, is to do some sprucing up. The concern we have was with the trees are rotting, we've had some of the larger limbs come down.
Yeah.
And that's why we got the city forester over to take a look at the trees. And he confirmed that they were rotting, and he recommended to take them down immediately.
Okay. Because I didn't know if they were rotting or what, but they look nice in the summertime when they are growing good. And I hate to see them come down, but if they are rotten, well then.
They're starting around the trunks on the bottom, Arlen, where you can see that it's dying off and moving up in. Dennis Knack.
The town of Burnhamwood is working with Serenity, which bought out Wittenberg Telephone on broadband. I know they wrote a grant for the funds that were available or became available from the infrastructure, but their plan is to finish the rest of the town of Burnhamwood and then
fiber,
all
Dennis?
of the town of Anawa.
With fiber, Dennis?
Yes.
Okay.
What
That's
they were
'cause-
the ones that did the east of us, so.
Yeah, we're real progressive up there in that corner. We
Yeah.
really go after things. No, that stuff should be considered. We have to look into that. And I guess Jimmy's getting his marching orders today then to start investigating that. John Ainsworth.
On a somewhat facetious note, I hope, as we discussed the replacement of the vegetation in the front yard here, it was suggested that we had to remove all the dirt and bring in new dirt. Now, if someone can tell me where you find new dirt, my recollection is all dirt is the same age. It's a matter of how it's treated and taken care of.
That's true. What it maybe does need though, John, is, I know from the past, everything down around Shawano in this area is pretty sandy. The best it could be is if you could mix in something that's got a lot more silt-like and loam in it, and that would hold the water a lot longer, and you wouldn't have the lawn burning off as fast as it does then. But maybe that's the new stuff. I could start hauling a trunk load down every time, but it would take me a long time to get enough here. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Then we will move on. Now we can go to claim report.
There are 21 members present at today's meeting for a total payout of $1,910.21.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Bill Spatala, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, then if you are in favor of getting paid, you would vote yes. If not, you would vote no. John? Come on, John. There you go. You only got another check or two coming and you're not running again, so gotta get her. Okay. 21 yes, 0 no. Item number 23, next meeting date, March 23rd, 2022 at 3 p.m. And as you know, we have someone in training because somebody else is going to run away. She's had enough after 30 years. So, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Joe, second. Boy, the hands really come up now. By Kimberly Leffel. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.